that moment when you're at a party, surrounded by people, laughing, talking, connecting, and you just feel nothing, like you're watching through glass, exhausted before you even got there. I used to think something was wrong with me, that I was broken, antisocial, maybe even a little cold. Then I found over 50 studies from places like Harvard and Stanford that completely changed how I see this. Turns out, if you struggle to make or keep friends, you might not be broken at all. You might just have one of these 5 rare psychological traits that science says makes deep connection harder. But here's the thing, not impossible. Stay with me, because what we're about to uncover goes way deeper than you think. Let's start with the first one, and honestly, this one hit me the hardest. Trait number 1, deep processing. If you've ever analyzed a single text message for 20 minutes, replayed a conversation in your head 3 days later, or noticed things in social situations that nobody else seems to catch, your brain isn't broken, it's busy. Here's what the science actually shows. Brain imaging studies have found that people with this trait have brains that literally process more information per interaction, more details, more subtleties, more potential meanings. While most people are having a conversation, you're playing social chess, analyzing tone, reading micro-expressions, predicting outcomes 3 moves ahead. It's exhausting, and it's exactly why small talk feels like running a marathon in your head. But here's the reframe. You're not overthinking, you're deep processing. And that kind of depth, it doesn't do surface-level friendships. It craves meaning, which leads us to trait number 2. And this one explains why you'd rather have 2 real friends than 20 acquaintances. Trait number 2, quality over quantity. You've probably been told your whole life that you need more friends, that you should put yourself out there, that something's wrong with how selective you are. Here's the thing. The Harvard Grant Study, the longest study on human happiness, spanning 75 years, found that it's not the number of relationships that predicts well-being, it's the depth. And researcher Jeff Hall discovered something even more specific. It takes roughly 200 hours of quality time to form a close friendship. 200 hours. So when you look around and see people with dozens of friends, while you have maybe 2 or 3 real ones, you're not failing at friendship. You're just not willing to call someone a friend. After 1 coffee and a few texts, that's not antisocial. That's selective. And honestly, science says you're doing it right. But here's where it gets even more interesting. Because trait number 3 explains why those 200 hours feel so much heavier for you than for everyone else. Trait number 3, heightened sensitivity. And this is why those 200 hours feel so much heavier for you. Dr. Ela Aaron's research found that roughly 15 to 20% of the population are what she calls highly sensitive people, and brain scans back this up. Highly sensitive people literally have more grey matter in areas linked to empathy, awareness, and emotional processing. Here's what that means in real life. While everyone else is watching the world in standard definition, you're stuck with an ultra-high definition experience. Every conversation, every interaction, every subtle shift in someone's tone. You're basically an emotional antenna, picking up signals most people don't even know exist. And here's the part nobody talks about. This trait kept humans alive. Your ancestors, the ones who noticed the rustling in the bushes before everyone else, they survived. The oblivious ones didn't. So, no, you're not too sensitive. You're highly attuned. And that's a gift most people would break under. But it also means you need more recovery time, more space, more selectivity, which brings us to trait number 4. And honestly, this is the one that confuses people the most. Trait number 4, self-sufficiency. This is the one that confuses people, because when you're emotionally self-sufficient, people read it wrong. They think you're cold, distant, maybe even arrogant. But here's what's actually happening. Psychologist Dr. Emma Sapala at Stanford found that some people are wired to generate their own sense of stability. They don't need external validation to feel okay. They don't need constant reassurance. They're not waiting for someone else to complete them. They already feel complete. And honestly, in a world full of people who fall apart the moment they're alone, that's rare. That's valuable. But it also means you don't chase friendships out of loneliness. You don't collect people to fill a void. And that makes you harder to read. You're not cold. You're not distant. You're just whole. And you're waiting for someone who adds to your life, not someone who becomes your life. Now, trait number 5. This one's a little harder to talk about because it's not about how you're wired. It's about what you've been through. Trait number 5. Trust wounds. This one isn't about how you're wired. It's about what you've been through. Somewhere along the way, you learned that people leave. Maybe it was a parent who was physically there but emotionally gone. A friend who walked away when things got hard. Someone who made you feel like loving them was a mistake, and your brain took notes. A 2019 meta-analysis, published in a major medical journal, found that early experiences with trust, especially inconsistent ones, shape how we approach relationships for life. Your nervous system learned to protect you, to watch for signs, to keep people at a safe distance until they've proven themselves. And here's what I need you to hear. That's not damage. That's data. Your walls aren't paranoia. They're pattern. Recognition. You're not refusing to let people in. You're just not letting the wrong people in easily. You're not broken. You're not cold. You're discerning, and you earned that the hard way. But here's the part we need to talk about. Because there's a difference between protecting yourself and hiding from connection altogether. Now, I'm not here to blindly validate everything, because there's a difference between choosing solitude, because it fills you up, and hiding in it, because connection feels too risky. One is peace. The other is a prison you built yourself. So, here's the question only you can answer. Are you protecting your energy? Or are you avoiding the vulnerability that real connection actually requires? Be honest with yourself, because the answer matters. But if you're still here, if any of this resonated, I want to leave you with something. You're not broken. You're not antisocial. You're not too much or too little. You're just wired for depth in a world that often rewards surface. And here's your permission slip. You don't have to change. You don't have to force friendships that drain you. The right people, the ones who get it, they're worth the wait. If this video made you feel seen, hit subscribe. I make videos like this every week for people like us. And if you want to go deeper, this one right here, it's going to hit even harder.